This one's really got me thinking, eternity awaits living under the reign of Christ.
Eternity, it's a big word. We'll
Yeah.
talk about it, but
Right.
what does it actually look like?
Yeah.
To live like it matters, right now,
Mm-hmm.
especially with this whole idea of Christ's kingdom,
Right.
like it's already here,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fascinating paradox, isn't it?
Totally.
This text in Isaiah, it's painting this picture of a kingdom that's here,
Yeah.
but also not fully here.
Okay, yeah, unpack that a bit. We're talking kingdoms,
Right.
but not like
Yes.
armies and castles.
No, not at all.
That's
Think of
idea.
it more like an
Okay.
empire of values, I guess you could say. How things should be,
Mm-hmm.
peace, justice, righteousness,
Yeah.
all coming from God's authority.
And the text keeps saying, this kingdom is increasing,
Increasing. Mhm.
not staying the same, constantly growing.
Huh. It's kind of wild when you think about how the world actually feels,
Yeah.
Divided,
Yeah.
chaotic. It's like one step forward,
Right.
2 steps back.
That's why this whole enduring nature of the kingdom thing,
Okay.
it's so powerful,
Yeah.
Even when things are chaotic,
Yeah.
there's this underlying current, this purpose,
Hmm.
driven by something bigger than us.
So less about us fixing it and more like tapping into something that's already moving.
Exactly. That's the hope.
Okay.
It's not wishful thinking. It's aligning ourselves with the reality that's
Yeah.
already in motion.
So how do we even wrap our heads around that, living in that tension? Now
Well-
that feels honestly kind of messy. Yeah.
And the not yet of this perfect kingdom.
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Right.
The text encourages us to engage with that tension through peace.
Okay.
And not just a fleeting feeling, but like a deep, abiding peace
Mm-hmm.
that's connected to understanding who's really in control.
So not just like a quiet afternoon with a good book then.
No.
This piece runs deeper.
Absolutely. This peace, it comes from God himself.
Okay.
And it acts like a guard for our hearts and minds.
Yeah.
It's about having an inner stability,
Yeah.
even when everything around us feels crazy.
Okay, I feel that.
Right.
We're bombarded with information, anxiety, uncertainty. It's
Right.
like constant state of low-grade panic sometimes.
Yeah.
How does this God peace actually change how we deal with all that?
It's about shifting our focus. Okay.
We're trying to control everything outside of us, when really our security has to be found in something unchanging, something eternal.
So instead of freaking out when things go sideways, and let's be honest, they do.
Right.
This is about finding that center, that place of peace,
Exactly.
even in the chaos.
And it's not about ignoring the problems around us, right?
Right.
It's about approaching them from a different foundation.
Yeah, okay.
And that leads us to another piece of this kingdom
Okay.
that the text really highlights: justice.
Right, because it's not all like peace and love.
Exactly.
Harps and clouds,
Right.
This text gets real about justice.
It does. It's a core part of how this whole kingdom operates.
Which, let's face it, is a pretty high bar.
It is, yeah.
We all know how often things fall apart. Justice isn't always served. Systems fail.
Right, but the text wants us to imagine
Yeah.
what a world would be like,
Yeah.
where justice is more than an ideal,
Okay.
but just how reality functions.
It's like we're supposed to wrap our heads around a completely different way for things to work.
It is
Kind of mind-bending.
a profound shift in perspective.
Yeah.
And it makes you ask, if we're part of this kingdom now,
Right.
how should that change how we interact with the world?
Yeah. It's not just a future hope.
Right.
It's about how we treat people right now.
Exactly.
How we advocate for what's right. How we respond when things aren't right.
Yes.
It's like bringing those kingdom values into right now.
And that can feel overwhelming,
Yeah.
which is why I think the next part is so important.
Yeah.
It tells us we don't have to do this on our own. The text says, the zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this.
There's that word again, zeal. That doesn't sound casual.
No.
Like, yeah, I'll get around to it.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Zeal. Here, it speaks to God's passion,
Mm.
his commitment to making this happen.
Okay.
It's unstoppable. Think of it like a river carving its way through rock, shaping everything.
Okay, so if God's got this zeal thing covered, what are we supposed to do? Just sit back and watch?
It's not about being passive. It's about aligning ourselves with what he's already doing.
Okay.
Imagine trying to push a boulder uphill,
Ugh.
and suddenly you realize someone's on the other side giving it a huge shove.
Right.
Wouldn't change your approach.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's like we're invited to participate not create it from scratch.
Exactly. And that's what living under Christ's reign is. Less striving,
Okay.
more surrendering to what's already happening.
Okay, I'm with you. But this whole living in the now and the not yet thing,
Yeah,
still fuzzy. Can we go back to the text for a second?
of course.
Maybe some concrete examples?
Absolutely. The text gives us a starting point. Remember how it talks about the increase
Mm-hmm.
of Christ's government and peace?
Mm-hmm.
That's not just an idea. It has real implications for how we live,
Okay, so how do we actually see this increase?
right?
Like, where's the kingdom breaking through in everyday life?
Think of it like this. Every act of genuine love,
Mm-hmm.
every moment of forgiveness,
Yeah.
every time someone chooses compassion over selfishness,
Uh-huh.
those are kingdom seeds.
So it's not about these big gestures,
Right.
like changing the world overnight. It's about the small stuff.
Exactly. The everyday choices that reflect a different way of being.
Okay.
And those choices,
Yeah.
they have a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Think about Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
She didn't start by trying to end poverty. She just responded to a need
Yeah.
with love and compassion.
Right?
And from that, a whole movement started.
Wow. Okay. That puts things in perspective. It's like we're all invited to be part of this
Yeah.
this expanding kingdom tapestry, weaving in peace and justice and righteousness.
Beautifully said. It's not about waiting for some grand unveiling.
Right.
The kingdom is being woven into our lives
Right now.
right now.
But let's be honest, it's hard to see sometimes, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Life is messy.
It is.
So how do we hold on to that hope, that vision of the kingdom when we're stuck in traffic or, facing some crisis?
That's where that deep peace we talked about
Yeah.
becomes so important.
Okay.
It anchors us when the storms come.
So not just about feeling calm all the time.
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's about having this inner assurance, knowing that we're held.
By something bigger.
Yes.
I love that. Held by something bigger. It's like having the safety net,
Yeah.
knowing that no matter what happens,
Right.
we're going to be okay.
And that safety net, that assurance, it's here right now
Yeah.
in our messy, imperfect lives.
Yeah.
It's not something we earn. It's a free gift. Through relationship with God.
See, that relationship with God thing,
Yeah.
it can be a lot for some people,
I understand.
Can you unpack that a bit? What does that even look like to actually have that and feel that peace?
I think it starts by simply acknowledging
Okay.
that there is something greater than ourselves. A God who loves us,
Yeah.
created us, and wants to be known by us.
Okay, so how do we connect with that?
Right.
Is it church, reading the Bible, certain prayers? What does that relationship actually look like?
It's less about rules or rituals
Right.
and more about opening ourselves to the possibility
Okay.
of a God who's closer than we think.
Mm-hmm.
Think about any relationship.
Yeah.
It takes communication, honesty, vulnerability.
So just showing up as we are,
Yes.
being open to that presence, that guidance.
Yes. It's about those little steps of faith.
Okay.
A simple prayer, spending time in nature,
Yeah.
really appreciating it, reading a passage from the Bible and letting it sink in.
It's less about getting it right and more about just showing up,
Yes.
being open.
Yes. And the more we do that,
Yeah.
the more we experience that peace
Okay.
that goes beyond our circumstances.
So it's like building a muscle almost.
Exactly.
This muscle of faith and trust that helps us go through life differently.
Absolutely. And as we build that muscle,
Yeah.
we start to see the world differently. We
Yeah.
notice those kingdom threads,
Mhm.
and we can start weaving them ourselves.
Which brings us back to justice.
Right.
It's not enough to just feel peaceful inside, right? We're called to actually do something.
Yes.
Be agents of peace and justice in the world.
Precisely. But we don't do it on our own strength. Remember that zeal.
Yeah.
God's already working. He invites us to partner with him,
Hmm.
to be his hands and feet. The world needs it.
Okay, so we talked about peace, we talked about justice,
Right.
but we keep coming back to this idea of eternity.
Yeah.
How do we live like it matters when everything's telling us this life is all there is?
That's a question that's challenged people for centuries.
Right.
But the key is understanding that eternity isn't just some distant point in the future.
Okay.
It's a dimension that intersects with the present.
Okay, break that down for me. What does that even mean? Intersects with the present.
Imagine two lines crossing on a piece of paper.
Okay, yeah.
The point where they meet
Yeah.
is part of both lines. One line is our present.
Okay.
The other is eternity.
So it's not about escaping this life
Right.
to get to some paradise later. It's about seeing that eternity is already here.
Exactly. It's about living with that awareness that our choices have eternal consequences. Our actions shape not just our present, but our eternal future.
That's a lot. It's like we're supposed to zoom out, see the bigger picture, see how even
Yeah.
smallest actions
Yes.
matter.
And that, I think, is where true fulfillment lies. Not in chasing fleeting things,
Yeah.
but in aligning ourselves with God's eternal purposes so that our lives become a reflection of His kingdom.
It's like we're being invited into this completely new way of being,
Exactly.
rooted in something deeper
Yeah.
than anything this world can offer.
And when we embrace that perspective,
Yeah.
it changes everything. Our priorities, our relationships, how we see ourselves.
Wow. This conversation has really stretched my thinking. It's like we've opened the door to a whole new realm of possibility.
It is exciting, isn't it?
It is this realm where eternity isn't just a hope.
Right.
It's something we can experience right now.
That's the beauty of these deep dives.
Yeah.
They push us to think beyond our limited perspectives,
Right.
to embrace a vision of life that's exciting and reassuring.
It's like we've been given this treasure map. And instead of leading to some treasure chest,
Right.
it's pointing to this whole new way of experiencing life, like right now.
And that treasure, it's available to everyone.
It is.
It doesn't matter your background, your mistakes, where you are on your spiritual journey.
Yeah.
Everyone's invited to live under Christ's reign.
Which honestly can be a little intimidating.
It can,
It's like, okay, I want that peace, I want that purpose, I want that hope, but
Yeah.
how do I actually get it? Where do I even start?
It's a great question. And I don't think there's one right answer.
Okay.
But maybe a good place to begin is asking yourself, what feels heavy right now? What am I carrying that I wasn't meant to?
It's like that boulder analogy. We can keep pushing, or we
Yeah.
can let go, let something bigger move it.
Exactly. It's about surrendering those burdens to God,
Yeah.
trusting that He cares.
So it's making that choice daily
Yeah.
to align ourselves with God's will, His vision.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like saying, okay, God, I'm here. I'm listening. Show me what it looks like to live under your rule, to be an instrument of your peace.
And trusting that even if we don't have it all figured out,
Yes.
even if we mess up,
Of course.
that He
Yeah.
can still use us.
Absolutely. Think about it. Some of the most powerful movements in history,
Yeah.
they started with ordinary people just saying yes to God,
Wow.
even when they were afraid.
So it's not about being perfect to participate in this.
No.
It's about showing up, being willing to take that step.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And the more steps we take, the more we realize we're not alone.
Right.
There's this community, right?
Right.
Here with us and throughout history, cheering us on.
It's like we're all in this together, this big adventure of faith,
Yes.
figuring out what it means to be citizens of this kingdom that's bigger than time and space.
And that's the best part, this journey of faith.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be done alone.
Right.
It's meant to be lived in community
Yeah.
with God and with each other.
So as we kind of wrap up our deep dive on Eternity Awaits. Yeah.
I think the biggest takeaway is this. It's not about escaping this life, but about letting eternity right now
Yes.
infuse our present
Yeah.
with hope, purpose, peace.
Beautifully said. And I'd add, this isn't just a one-time thing.
Right.
It's an open invitation
Yeah.
to keep exploring, to keep questioning, to keep leaning into this mystery of a God who loves us and wants to make His kingdom a reality.
In us.
Yes.
Through us.
Through us, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so as you go about your week, look for those kingdom moments, those sparks of grace, of justice, those moments of peace that remind you eternity isn't just later,
Yes.
it's now.
Right now.
Seek out those moments and
Yeah.
let them change you.
It reminds us that we don't have to shoulder the burden of establishing this kingdom all on our own.
The text tells us that the zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this.
There's that word again.
Right.
Zeal.
Yeah.
It's not just a casual,
Yeah.
I'll get around to it kind of statement.
Not at all.
Okay.
Zeal. In this context,
Yeah.
it speaks to God's passion,
Okay.
His unwavering commitment
Hmm.
to making this happen.
Oh, powerful.
It's unstoppable,
Okay.
like a river,
Yeah.
carving its path through rock,
Right.
shaping, molding everything in its way.
So if God's got this zeal thing covered,
Right.
what does that mean for us? Do we just sit back and watch?
It's not about being passive.
Okay.
It's about aligning ourselves with the work He's already doing.
Okay. Okay.
Put it this way. If you were trying to push a boulder uphill and suddenly you realize someone's on the other side,
Yeah.
giving it a huge shove in the same direction,
Right. Okay.
wouldn't that change your approach?
Totally. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Right.
Like we're invited to participate,
Exactly.
not create from scratch.
Precisely.
Okay.
And that's where this idea of living under Christ's reign,
Yeah.
it becomes less about us striving
Okay.
and more about surrendering.
To what's already happening.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm tracking.
Right.
But this whole living in the now and the not yet,
Yeah.
it's still a little fuzzy.
Okay.
Can we go back to the source material for a second?
Absolutely, yeah.
Maybe some concrete examples would help?
Yeah, the text actually gives us a helpful starting point.
Okay.
Remember how it emphasizes the increase
Hmm.
of Christ's government
Right.
and peace.
Right. Yeah.
That's not just some abstract theological concept.
Okay.
It has real implications for how we live.
So how do we actually see this increase?
Right.
Like where are those kingdom moments happening every day?
Think about it like this.
Yeah.
Every act of genuine love,
Mm-hmm.
every time someone forgives,
Yeah.
every time someone chooses compassion instead of being selfish,
Okay.
those are all tiny seeds of the kingdom taking root.
Mm-hmm.
They're growing.
So it's not always about
Right.
the big gestures, changing the world overnight. It's
Yeah.
about the small, everyday stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
That reflects a different way of being.
Exactly.
Right.
And those seemingly insignificant choices,
Yeah.
they have a ripple effect.
Okay.
Think about Mother Teresa. She didn't start by single-handedly eradicating poverty.
Right.
She just saw a need and responded with love,
Yeah.
with compassion.
And from that,
Yeah,
a whole movement of service and care was born.
exactly.
Wow. Okay.
It's powerful.
That puts things in perspective. It's like we're all invited to be a part of this
Right.
ever-expanding tapestry of the kingdom,
I love that.
weaving in those threads of peace, justice, righteousness
Yes,
through our actions every day.
that's beautifully put.
Yeah.
It's not about waiting for some grand unveiling in the future.
Right.
The kingdom is being woven into the very fabric of our lives.
Right now.
Right now.
But if we're being honest,
No.
sometimes it's hard to see those threads, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Life can feel really messy,
It can.
overwhelming. Yeah.
How do we hold on to that hope, that vision of the kingdom
Yeah.
when we're stuck in traffic
Yeah.
or, facing some personal crisis?
That's where that deep, abiding peace we were talking about,
Okay.
it becomes so vital.
Mm.
It's like an anchor,
Yeah.
that keeps us grounded
Mm-hmm.
when the storms of life threaten to sweep us away.
So it's not just about feeling calm,
No, not at all.
relaxed all the time.
It's about having this inner assurance,
Yeah.
this deep-seated knowing
Okay.
that we're held by something bigger than ourselves,
Okay.
even when we can't see the way forward.
I love that.
Yeah.
Held by something bigger.
It's powerful.
It's like having that invisible safety net,
Right.
knowing that
Yes.
no matter what happens,
Yeah.
we're not alone.
We're going to be okay. And that safety net,
Yeah.
that assurance,
It's available
it is. Like right now.
right here, right now,
Wow.
in the midst of our messy, imperfect lives.
Okay.
It's not something we earn.
Yeah.
It's a free gift.
Through relationship with God.
Oh,
okay,
wow.
see, this whole relationship with God thing,
Yeah.
it can feel pretty loaded for some people,
Oh,
you know? Can you unpack that a little bit?
Sure.
What does that actually look like? To tap into that relationship
Yeah.
and experience that peace.
It starts with a simple acknowledgement,
Okay.
recognizing that there's something,
Yeah.
or rather someone greater than ourselves,
hmm
that there's a God who loves us,
Yeah.
who created us,
Yeah.
and who longs to be in relationship with us.
Okay, so how do we actually connect with this God?
Right.
Is it about, like, going to church?
It's less about following a set of rules
Okay.
or rituals,
Okay.
and more about opening our hearts and minds
Yeah.
to the possibility
Okay.
of a God who is closer than we might think.
Okay.
Think about it like any other relationship.
Okay.
It requires communication,
Yeah.
honesty, a willingness to be vulnerable.
So just showing up authentically,
Yes.
just as we are,
Just as you are.
being open to experiencing God's presence,
Yes.
his guidance.
It's about taking those small steps of faith.
Okay, like what does that look like?
Offering up a simple prayer,
Okay.
spending time in nature,
Yeah.
appreciating the beauty of creation,
Okay.
reading a passage from the Bible, letting the words sink into your heart.
So less about getting it right,
Yes.
more about just showing up,
Yes.
being open.
And the more we lean into that relationship,
Yeah.
the more we'll start to experience that deep, abiding peace
Okay.
that transcends our circumstances.
So it's like we're building a
Exactly.
muscle of faith.
Yes.
Yes.
That allows us to navigate the ups and downs of life
Yeah.
with a different kind of confidence.
Okay.
A confidence that's rooted in something unshakable.
Okay. I like that.
It's powerful.
So as we cultivate that inner peace,
Yes.
we start to see the world differently.
Yes.
We become more aware of those kingdom threads
Exactly.
woven into our everyday lives.
Yes. And more importantly,
Yeah.
we're empowered to start weaving those threads ourselves.
Which brings us back to justice.
Right.
It's not enough to just feel peaceful on the inside, right?
It's not.
We're called to actually do something.
We are.
Be agents of peace and justice in the world around us.
Precisely. But it's not about doing it in our own strength or
Uh-huh.
trying to fix everything ourselves.
Right.
Remember that zeal we talked about?
Yeah.
God is already at work.
Okay.
And he invites us to partner with him,
Okay.
to be his hands and feet
Yeah.
in a world that desperately needs his love and justice.
Okay, so we've talked about peace, we've touched on justice,
Right.
but we're still kind of dancing around this idea of eternity.
Right.
How do we actually bridge that gap between the now and the not yet?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
How do we live like eternity matters?
Yeah, when we're bombarded with these messages that tell us this life is all there is.
That's a question
Right.
that has challenged theologians,
Right.
philosophers for centuries.
It's a big one.
It is.
Yeah.
But I think the key
Yeah.
lies in understanding that eternity isn't just some distant point in the future.
Okay.
It's a dimension that intersects with the present.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Break that down for me.
Okay.
What does it mean for eternity to intersect with the present?
Think of it like this.
Okay.
Imagine two lines intersecting on a piece of paper.
Okay. Yeah.
The point where they meet
Yeah.
is both a part of the horizontal line,
Okay.
representing our present reality,
Right.
and the vertical line,
Okay.
representing eternity.
Hmm.
They both exist at the same point.
So it's not about escaping this life to
Yeah.
get to some otherworldly paradise.
Right.
It's about recognizing that eternity is already woven into the very fabric of our existence.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's about living with an awareness
Okay.
that our choices have eternal consequences,
Wow. Okay.
that our actions have the power to shape
Yeah.
not just our present circumstances,
Right.
but also our eternal destinies.
That's a powerful thought.
It is.
It's like we're being invited to view our lives through a much wider lens.
Yes.
To see the bigger picture.
Yes.
The eternal significance.
Yes.
Of even the smallest acts of love, kindness, justice.
And that, I believe, is where true fulfillment lies.
Okay.
Not in chasing after fleeting pleasures
Yeah.
or worldly success,
Right.
but in aligning ourselves with the eternal purposes of God. Okay. And living in such a way that our lives become a reflection of his kingdom come.
It's like we're being invited to step into a whole new way of being.
It is.
A way of life that's rooted in something.
Yes.
Much deeper, more lasting than anything this world has to offer.
Exactly.
Wow.
And as we embrace this eternal perspective,
Yeah.
we'll find that it changes everything.
Okay.
Our priorities,
Yeah.
our relationships, our very understanding of who we are
Okay.
and what we're called to be.
Wow. I don't know about you,
Right.
but this conversation has really stretched my thinking.
Good.
It's like we've cracked open the door
Yes.
to a whole new realm of possibility.
There you go.
A realm where eternity isn't just a distant hope,
Right.
but a present reality that we can tap into.
yes.
Right here, right now.
And that's the beauty of deep dives like this.
It is.
They challenge us to think beyond our limited perspectives
They do.
and to embrace a vision of life
Yeah.
that's both exhilarating and deeply reassuring.
It's like we've been given this treasure map, and instead of leading to some treasure chest, it's pointing to this whole new way of experiencing life.
Yes.
Like right now.
It's exciting.
It is. And that treasure, it's available to everyone.
It is, yeah.
It doesn't matter your background, your mistakes,
Mm.
where you are on your spiritual journey.
It doesn't matter.
Everyone's invited to live under Christ's reign,
Everyone's invited, yeah.
which honestly can be a little intimidating.
It can be, yeah. It's a
If-
big invitation.
It is. It's like, okay, I want that peace. I want that purpose, that hope.
Right.
But how do I actually step into that?
Where do I even begin?
That's the question, isn't it?
Right.
And I don't think there's one right answer,
Okay.
but maybe a good place to start
Yeah.
is by asking yourself,
Okay.
what feels heavy right now?
Mm-hmm.
what burdens am I carrying
Yeah.
that maybe I wasn't meant to carry?
Right. It's like that boulder thing we talked about.
Exactly.
We can keep pushing it uphill ourselves,
Right.
or
Yeah.
we can let go and let something bigger move it.
Surrender those burdens to God.
Okay.
Trust that he cares.
Yeah.
Let his peace fill those spaces where you've been carrying fear and anxiety.
So it's making that choice every day
Yeah.
to align ourselves with his will, his vision.
It's about saying, okay, God, I'm here, I'm listening.
Yeah.
Show me what it looks like to live under your reign.
To be an instrument of your peace.
And trusting that even if we don't have it all figured out, even if we mess up along the way,
Of course, that's part of it.
he can still use us.
He can, think about it, some of the most powerful movements in history
Yeah.
started with ordinary people who were just willing to say yes to God,
That's powerful.
even when they were afraid, even when they didn't know what they were doing.
So we don't have to be perfect to participate.
We don't. We just have to be willing
Just show up.
to show up, be willing to take that step.
Yeah. However small it seems.
Exactly. And the more steps we take,
Yeah.
the more we realize we're not alone.
Right. We're not the first ones to walk this path.
Exactly. There's a whole community right here and throughout history
Yeah, cheering us on.
cheering us on, walking alongside us.
It's true. It's like we're all in this together.
Oh, yeah.
This crazy adventure of faith.
It's an adventure.
Trying to figure out what it means to live as citizens of this kingdom that's bigger than all of this.
Bigger than time and space. That's the amazing part.
Right. So as we wrap up our deep dive on Eternity Awaits,
Yes.
I think what I'm taking away is this. It's not about escaping this life.
It's not about escaping.
It's about letting eternity break in
Yes.
right here, right now.
It changes everything.
It does. It changes how we see everything, how we live.
And that's the invitation, isn't it?
It is. It's an invitation to keep going.
To keep exploring, to keep asking questions.
Keep leaning into this mystery.
The mystery of a God who loves us.
Yes.
And who wants to make all of this real in our lives.
In us, through us,
Okay.
yeah. Wow. Okay, so as you go about your week, look for those kingdom moments, okay?
Yes.
Those little sparks of grace, those glimpses of justice, those moments of peace.
reminders.
Yeah, those reminders that eternity isn't just later, it's now.
It's right here.
It's right here. Seek out those moments. Let them change you.
Let them change you. That's the key.
This has been amazing. Thanks for taking this deep dive with me.
Always a pleasure.